So looking back on your relationships at UCSB, what stands out to you the most and why?
So at UCSB, I think the relationships that stood out the most to me were those that I made within my class of CCS Physics. Specifically because I was able to be around so many other individuals that were motivated in a similar sense to me and also had similar ambitions for the future. And being around such an amazing group of individuals was extremely motivating and helped me through a lot of very hard times in college. College is very hard. But having people around you who are so inspiring and in some cases have achieved great things gives you great motivation to succeed in your own way. Not in a sense of competitiveness with them, but to achieve your own sort of understanding about where you fit in as a scientist and where you fit in the community.
So what role did your academic advisor play in your experience?
Dr. B definitely played the role of a very casual mentor for me. When I went to consult him for about any issues, I didn't feel pressured or stressed, and it didn't feel like I was wasting his time. He was genuinely invested in me and my problems, and these problems weren't limited to just ones that for academics or physics, but also I've had some questions about work-life balance or some personal stress issues that I've talked to him, and he's definitely helped me a lot with dealing with these issues.
All right, so what kind of research opportunities have you been exposed to during your time in CCS Physics?
During my time in CCS Physics, I've worked in one lab. I've worked in Anya JH's experimental condensed matter lab. And I've had a variety of different research opportunities in that lab. I started there as a freshman. And because I started so early, I was able to get a lot of depth in this one project I was working on during this entire time. And because of that, I was able to come up with my own ideas and make my own measurements and do my own analysis and even write papers of my own in collaboration with my teammates. And a large part of that credit goes to Professor Anya JH for kind of giving me all of the right resources and opportunities in order to really be able to maximize my potential.
All right, so how did you adapt to the rigorous course load?
So coming into CCS, you'll definitely take a lot more physics classes than you ever have before at one time. I think the best part about coming here is that your classmates are really willing to work with you. Everyone collaborates on homework, which is really nice. So having that first 2 years of lots of physics with classmates, but also just learning from them, having them teach you, really helps you adapt right off the bat. For when you get into those upper division classes, you have a nice network of people to work with at that point. And so you really know kind of how to work together to solve problems and finish things on time.
So from my experience, the first thing I would do is I will plan ahead, which means I'll see which courses I'm going to take. I'm going to discuss my study schedule with my advisor or with my friends to see whether there's anything inappropriate to take or if there are too many courses I need to take. And after that, I would say you can do your work little by little. For example, in my first 2 years in the introductory series, there are probably 16 problems per week which I need to do, but the strategy I used is I split them into 4 problems per day, so I used 4 days to complete the whole homework set, and still have a couple of days left to discuss with my friends, so that will make the study load a little bit easier for you.
What is your favorite class you've taken outside of your major requirements, and why?
So this past year I took a class called Differential Geometry, which was with Professor Dai of the math department. It's vaguely related to physics, so it feels almost cheating to say it's outside my major requirements, but it's not required, so that's great. And it was a graduate level math course, so it was somewhat difficult. That was one of the appeals, because I think that it's very difficult to learn something unless you're being challenged to learn it. At the same time, I think I like math a lot, so I'm a little more theoretical on the theoretical side of things, and so it was really helpful for me to see the mathematics that kind of governs the way that the physics works, and I thought that was really great.
You were accepted into some pretty prestigious grad schools, including Caltech, Berkeley, and Princeton. What did you decide to do instead?
So I ended up instead deciding to take a job in software engineering. And ultimately that came out of an increased love for software engineering, not out of anything at all against physics. As a matter of fact, I started my physics education with no real programming experience at all. And then in my first research experience, which CCS absolutely got me to do nice and early on, I was given a problem. It was reasonably complex, and I was told, use Python, solve this. And it was incredibly fun. I was on Stack Exchange, of course. And then after that, I kind of continued finding problems for research that were computationally oriented. And by the end of this, I realized that I was even more excited about the computation side of things than I was about even the science itself. And so that was what led me to do software engineering. However, if I were to go and restart all of this, I actually would still choose physics as my undergraduate major. And that's because I felt like I got to learn just so much about how the world works. That's what I wanted to learn about. I didn't want to spend 4 years just on the theory of computer science. I like what we learned in physics, and the only thing I really would have changed was to take more computer science internships over the summers. And yeah.
Are there any professors you felt especially lucky to have interacted with?
So I'll preface my answer with the fact that I think I had the opportunity to take classes in the physics department with a multitude of professors that were all extremely friendly, helpful in and out of class. And I think to highlight one of them, it would be my academic advisor, Tengiz Bibilashvili in the CCS. And I think the reason for me wanting to pick him especially is because in the first 2 years of the CCS, you take these core classes consistently with him and have one-on-one meetings. And I think that helps build a sort of uniquely strong relationship that I didn't realize would be so important when it came time to apply to graduate schools and fellowships and that sort of thing.